In November 2022, a quiet college town in Idaho turned into a crime scene. Four young students were found brutally stabbed in their own home. As investigators raced against time, one name emerged: Bryan Kohberger. In today's video, we're uncovering every angle, from crime scene to courtroom, and the shocking outcome. Stay with me. This story is haunting, complex, and still raises more questions than answers.
On the night of November 13, 2022, students Madison Morgan, Kaylee Goncalves, Zana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin lived together off campus in Moscow, Idaho. That night, something horrific occurred within the walls of their rental house. The discovery the next morning: 4 lives lost, a community in shock. Investigators secured the scene immediately, sealed it off, collected evidence, everything from fingerprints to biological traces, footprints, and blood spatter. But the path to answers would be anything but straightforward. One of the most critical pieces of evidence was a knife sheath found near the scene. Forensic teams extracted DNA, and the sample matched a male profile. Investigators compared this DNA to Bryan Kohberger, a criminology PhD student, and found a match. In addition, blood spatter, trace fibers, and microscopic evidence linked the environment of the crime to items in Kohberger's life. But defense attorneys later challenged the collection methods, chain of custody, and possible contamination. Still, for law enforcement, the forensic picture was starting to form. Investigators identified a white Hyundai Elantra in security camera footage circling near the victim's home around 4 a.m. Records show that Kohberger's phone was in the vicinity, though for several hours he had powered it off, making logs and pings discontinuous. Triangulation data, cell tower logs, and phone metadata placed him within striking distance of the crime scene. Also, his digital footprint, browser history, location services, and pattern analysis added pieces to the puzzle. The defense argued about gaps, latency, and signal errors, but the prosecution painted a narrative of deliberate action. On December 30, 2022, authorities arrested Kohberger at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. The operation was swift, carefully coordinated, and aimed to reduce media leaks. The public reaction was immediate: shock, disbelief, speculation. How could a student of crime become the suspect of these murders? Headlines raced, social media exploded, theories flew, but behind the noise, legal teams prepared for a courtroom battle. Kohberger initially pleaded not guilty, setting the stage for what would be a protracted legal battle. His defense team attacked several pillars of the prosecution's case: the possibility of DNA contamination or misinterpretation, gaps in phone data timelines, arguments about reasonable doubt. The pretrial period was full of motions for suppression of evidence, exclusion of certain testimony, expert witness challenges. Meanwhile, prosecutors fine-tuned their narrative, layering forensic, digital, and circumstantial evidence.
The families of the victims, meanwhile, attended every hearing, hoping for transparency and resolution. Coming into July 2025, the case took a dramatic turn. Kohberger agreed to a plea deal, changing his plea from not guilty to guilty on all counts. The deal removed the possibility of the death penalty in exchange for life sentences without parole. This strategic shift ended the possibility of a trial, but ignited debates. Was this a compromise or the best way to guarantee punishment?
The prosecution emphasized closure, certainty, and avoiding a costly, drawn-out trial. Critics questioned whether the families and public would truly see justice. On July 23, 2025, the judge formally sentenced Kohberger to 4 consecutive life sentences without parole, plus additional years for burglary. The courtroom was heavy with emotion. Families recounted their pain, their lives after loss.
The victims' parents, siblings, and friends delivered powerful statements about memory, grief, and justice. When the court asked Kohberger if he wished to speak, he replied in just 3 words: "I respectfully decline." Those words echoed: silent, stark, final. The plea deal split opinion across the U.S. Some said justice was served. Life in prison is a harsh sentence. Others argued that the death penalty should have been an option, or that the public deserved a full trial. Many questions remain. What was Kohberger's motive?
Did he act alone or have accomplices? Were all pieces of evidence fully disclosed? In many ways, this case is less a closed chapter and more a mirror, reflecting the strengths and imperfections of the American judicial system. This was the full detailed story of the Bryan Kohberger case, a crime that startled a nation, evidence that challenged experts, and a verdict that still divides opinions. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Did the plea deal bring closure or leave questions? If you found this video insightful, hit like, share it, and subscribe for more deep dives into true crime and legal stories. Until next time, stay curious, stay critical, and seek the full